On this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to fix those cracks on your wall or your drywall, so stay tuned. Welcome to Fix This House. If you're new to the channel, please consider pressing the subscribe and notification bell so you can always be in tune on DIYs, how-to videos, and product reviews that I do within this channel. I'm in the process right now of renovating my kitchen, and on that kitchen is this wall that I'm currently working on, and at the top area there is this crack on the wall. Now this could be many causes, meaning that the drywall could possibly have not been secured correctly. Like what you see here, when I press down, it is pretty much moving forward and backwards. And it could also be an issue where your house is starting to settle, and when things are starting to settle, the foundation and the structure of your house is constantly shifting, creating these minute or bigger cracks. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna prep the area. Now I know we're gonna go and make these cracks a little bigger, which is pretty much counterproductive, but trust me, this is the proper way to prep it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna gouge through these cracks and make them bigger so that we can have enough space to fill in our new joint compound. Now you can take your 5-to-1 tool or this 10-in-1 tool. Again, all the tools that I use in this video, I'll leave it in the description down below. You're just gonna gouge it all throughout where the cracks are. Utility knife would also work well as well, so whatever tool is best for you. This one I'm just using the 5-in-1, and you can see exactly what's wrong with this one right here. It's completely hollow, and pretty much what's inside there was filled in with just joint compound, which is kind of okay, but they didn't fully secure it. So I'm gonna be going and relieving everything, the rest of it, with a utility knife. You can see all the voids in there, so we're gonna make this a little bit wider. Notice how when I cut, it's a little bit tapered off to the edge, which is pretty much the best way to do it, so you can get a lot more surface area for the joint compound to make contact and make the two pieces secure. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add drywall screws. We're gonna put them both on each side. Now this will prevent any more shifting in the future. Not guaranteed, but I definitely recommend you do this so that you can have no movement, and if there is movement, it won't crack anymore. So I might have went overboard with the drywall screws, but hey, the more the better, so we can have that assurance that it won't shift. It's totally up to you. For me, I just went crazy on the drywall screws, but it's totally up to you. Now when that's done, we're gonna go mix our joint compound. Now the joint compound that I'll be using today, 40-minute mud. So this is one of the best ones that I like to use because it gives me ample time for it to mix and then work around it. Now there are other faster settling muds out there. There's actually 5 minutes if you want to have it settle a little bit more faster, but 40 is pretty much best for me. If you like working more time, there is 90-minute mud. Again, those muds, I'll leave it in the description down below, those links as well, if you want to get access to those mud types. But we're just gonna mix this and make it have a consistency of yogurt like consistency. Now that's one of the textures that I like on this. You can make it a little bit more wet or you dry, it's totally up to you, but for me, I like that yogurt consistency. We're gonna fill in these cracks first with the joint compound. Now if you're gonna be using mesh tape to seal these in, use the mesh tape first before applying this. For me, I like to use the paper tape a lot better because it's easier to work with, in my honest opinion. Again, you can use either mesh or paper. I'll leave those on the description down below as well. Now when you apply the paper tape, you are gonna go and just apply it to the length, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna squeegee out the excess. So you always want to start in the middle and then work your way out to the sides. Once that's done, you're going to run it once again and try to get those excess joint compound out of there so that you can have a nice flat surface and you don't have any bubbles that might occur later on. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other side as well. Do the exact same thing, squeegee out the rest of that joint compound. It's about 40 minutes to dry up. Some people stop at the second layer, which is fine. You can still see a little bit of paper on the grooves and whatnot. So I'm just gonna go and apply my coat right now, which I'm gonna be using my 12, or you can use your 10-inch knife, which I'm using right here, and you're just gonna start feathering it in right here. Now all the low and high spots will be covered once you put on the third layer. Now this is a lot. Now for the joint compound on this, you want to make it a little bit more wet so it will have a nice finish touch to it. Okay, so after you apply this third layer, you can even go up to the fourth layer. It's totally up to you, but if you can accomplish everything on the second and third, then that's completely fine. So this is pretty much all just finesse. This takes time, patience, and just with the work of your hands, you can finesse this to to the smoothest part, so that you don't have to sand it so much when we start sanding it. Okay, so try to make it look as best as you can so you don't have to sand so much. Now once that third layer is done, just wait for it to dry. Now I'm just using my sanding block. You can use a 80 to 120 grit. It's totally up to you, but after you sand it, look how nice and smooth everything is. Now you can go back once again and just finish it off with your 120 grit sandpaper or your sanding block. Again, all this sanding block and the grit sandpaper that I use, I'll leave a link on the description as well, so you can get access to those and know what the tools that I use. But look at that, everything looks good now. Everything is nice and flush and smooth. So what you want to do before you apply any paint of your choosing, you want to prime it so you don't get any flashing, meaning that you'll get uneven paint all throughout. Before I end this video, let's do a quick recap. You start off with your damaged wall, your cracked wall, which is caused by settling or unsecured drywall. You're going to score it, make the crack bigger. You're going to apply some drywall screws so that it's be nice and secured, just like so. Then you're going to fill the cracks in with joint compound, or if you're using mesh tape, put mesh tape first. Then you're going to apply the paper joint tape. Put your first, second, and third coat, let that dry, and then sand it smooth, ready for primer and paint. So friends, if you found this video helpful, please hit that big thumbs up, press the subscribe and notification bell, and I'll see you on the next episode.